Welcome to the Seriously podcast. I'm your host, Annalise Gann. Now let's get into it. Welcome to the Seriously podcast, where we make light of serious conversations with really interesting people. Victoria Carlisle is a Perth-based Mumfluencer and Deputy Principal who shares her family adventures on her Instagram account at Perth Localite. She offers insights into Perth events, attractions and community highlights, and I'm really excited to chat with Vic today and get to know her behind her brand. So here she is, everyone, Victoria. Welcome back to the Seriously podcast. I'm your host, Annalise Gann, and this week we have Perth Localite, Victoria Carlisle.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. I have followed your Instagram for a while. You're one of Perth's biggest accounts. You showcase everything. I want to know, what's your favourite hidden gem in Perth that you've recently discovered?
Have you been to Mason Mill Garden in Carlisle?
No.
It is amazing. So it has a beautiful little garden there. They've got a beautiful play area for the kids. You can sit up and have your cheese board and your wine and sit while the kids are playing, and it is seriously so beautiful. And for about $10, I think they have a kids meal, and it comes with a burger, chips, all of those gorgeous desserts that the kids can enjoy, and you can just sit back and just living your best life. It's definitely one of those hidden gems. Secondly, I would say, have you been to Paperbird in Fremantle?
No.
Like a little bookstore.
No.
It's another hidden gem. It's like Narnia. So they have a wardrobe, a magic wardrobe. Open it up and go through, and it's got a secret room inside. It's got a fireplace, all these beautiful books sitting around. And then right next door, it's got an amazing cafe that you can just sit and eat at. But it's just definitely one of those spots you need to check out if you haven't already.
Yeah. Well, I love your page because you do showcase hidden gems, but also you make motherhood, and I'm sure many of the audience agree with it, you make it look very effortless and seamless.
I don't know about that. If anyone fly on the wall some days. But thank you. I have an amazing husband who's super supportive, and both my family, my mum, my dad and Sam's parents are an amazing help too. So that definitely makes the journey a bit easier, that's for sure.
Well, it definitely, I don't know, I can't wait to be a mum, and when I look at your account, I'm like, that will be me one day for sure.
Totally.
In saying that, like, how do you juggle family life with 3 small kids and then your social media hustle and your deputy principal? Like, it's a lot. How do you do it?
Juggling is the perfect word to describe that. I feel like my life is a daily juggle. Definitely. Look, lists are my best friend. I write lists every evening to make sure that I've got my priorities right, basically. However, look, I'm very lucky in the way that social media, I feel what I display is integrated into my everyday life. I don't have to go out of my way to make content. So my kids will be playing outside, or I will be taking them to a cafe that I genuinely want to be at and just sit and have coffee with my friends, and my kids are playing, because I will only go to a cafe, of course, that has a play area. And I will just get out my phone, whip it out and just record. And that is how Perth Localite started. I started taking my kids out because I can't think of anything worse than staying at home with 3 toddlers all day, every day. And people would slide in my DMs so much, just asking where I was, what I was doing, all of those kind of things. And I just thought one day, like, why am I just spending so much time responding to these people? They obviously want to know. Like, I'll just start sharing as reels, and, that's how it started. But yeah.
And it's taken off really quickly.
It has, to be fair. I only kind of changed it in this direction March last year. So yeah, I think like 20,000 people have jumped on board since then. So wild.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
How has your life changed since the social media has increased so much?
Look, the opportunities have been out of this world. It was, getting invited now to, VIP entrance, and the kids are going to things that I could only imagine when I was growing up and I was a child. So the opportunities are definitely there. Even, like staycations. We booked down south a couple of months ago, not as a PR event, just genuinely as a family staycation with my parents and my sister. And since I created that reel, I think we've got maybe like 6 staycations booked for the rest of this year already that PR companies have reached out and asked for my family to stay.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. So opportunities like that I would be doing anyway, but now I get to, work with businesses on the side. It's a bit of a dream, really.
But money can't buy them either. Like, you could go and pay for a staycation, but then they add little add-ons that mean the difference, and it does save money, like, at the end of the day, especially having a family. Like, it's expensive enough going as a couple.
Totally.
So
the amount of money
good.
we spend on food and that each week is just so having some assistance with some staycays, can't complain with that.
With your husband,
yes,
people want to know, how did you meet him, and what's your favourite thing about him, and what's his name?
Sam. Oh, good old Sammy. Hilarious. So I don't know if you know, I was actually married prior. So Sam and I met. We have always been friends. So Sam is also a teacher. We used to work together at the same school.
Oh, that's spicy.
Yeah, so it was a bit of Gossip Girl XOXO at the time. He was actually dabbling in a bit of admin. I was going through a pretty traumatic breakup, like divorce at the time. So he was just an amazing sounding board, really. Like, he would just check in on me, bring in coffees, just make sure I was all good. And one day I just remember actually signing the divorce papers, and it just had to be in and faxed off, and I was pretty emotional. And I remember him going he was working in the office at the time. He's like, you just need to go home. Just go home. I'll take your kids. I'll teach them for the rest of the day. Just chill. And I just remember getting in the car and thinking he is such an amazing human. Like, he just knew what I needed.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks down the track, I remember it was the staff meeting. He was like, do you want to go for a coffee? And I just was like, what? Just like a coffee, like outside of school kind of thing. And he's polar opposite to my ex, probably for a reason. But in every way, shape and form, the way he thinks, the way he looks, everything. And I just thought, he's not really like my type. But let's give it a go. It was like the best walk of my entire life. Like,
oh my God, that makes me want to cry, because I feel like it sounds healing for you.
So healing. And he just gets me. He just in every way. And I'm full on. Like, I'm not just like an easy person to just get into a relationship and be with, but he just gets me. He's so good for my soul, and he is like the best dad in the entire world. Like, I genuinely cannot think of just one aspect that I like about Sam. Like, I love the way he thinks. I love the way he's so reliable. He's trustworthy. He is like the best dad in the entire world.
All those things really matter. Like, when you're in young love,
those superficial stuff.
Yeah, those things don't matter. But when you want to be a mum, they're like the paramount things, and you can't be with someone who's not like that.
No, and I often wonder, like, if that does impact on the amount of divorce rates and things that are going on at the moment. Like, if you don't have those foundation things, like, how do you, and it's all based, the mum has to do everything. Like, how can you be happy and functional as a family? Like, I think choosing the right person is so important.
Can I ask about that, past relationship? How long were you together for?
So my ex and I were together since I was 14.
Oh, so wow.
Forever.
Okay, yeah.
So we were like high school sweethearts, but just grew apart. Just grew apart, went through stages of life and just different directions. Yeah.
And then when you married Sam, so you met, how long until you got engaged?
It was pretty quick because we were friends before.
Yeah, you knew him for a long time.
A long time before. So I think we were together probably for only a year and a half maybe before we were engaged.
See, that's long to me. I was thinking through like a few months.
Maybe because like my first one, I suppose we were together forever before. Yeah. But I think it was a year, just over a year maybe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I want to know, how do you keep up with all the events happening in Perth? Because I always see your feed and it's ever changing, like you're doing this, you're doing that. How do you keep up with it?
I don't think I do. I honestly do just pick and choose now what suits my family, what my family will always be my priority. And this has just been an amazing side hustle hobby that has just eventuated. But I have a look and I just think, is it worth my time? Is it worth if I'm spending time away from my family? Is it an event that I can take Sam to as my +1 and we can have a date night out of it? Or is it, something that I can enjoy with the kids? If it's not something that I think is worth my time, or, if it's not worth being there, then I won't go. Yeah, I won't go.
Yeah, relatable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And for those who don't know, you're a deputy principal.
Yeah.
That's a massive feat for someone who's so young.
Oh, thank you.
Like, that's hard to do. How did you get into that realm of work? Like, that's quite a competitive industry to be deputy principal.
Yeah, look, it is very competitive. And I think that's probably why I'm there. I am pretty competitive. I am a perfectionist. Even when I was teaching, I was always doing like a lead role. I was always leading a committee. I was always making sure that, my classroom was, most welcoming place to be. I was always making sure that my kids were achieving, the biggest amount of progress when it came to assessment data. I put my heart and soul into everything that I do when it came to the classroom. So I think it was naturally, when the job came up, it was something that, was the next step for me. So applied, did the interview, wasn't expecting it, and then, won the position. And now I feel like I'm using the skills that I would in the classroom with the students, but now more so with the teachers. So, so we're, now I can work with the teachers and look at their programs and work out how we can differentiate for particular kids if they've got a problem, not a problem child, but a child that is, causing a bit of grief in the classroom or not settling. Like, what can we put in place for them? How can we get those top kids, pushed even more and given their daily challenge? And then those kids that really need that extra support, how can we cater for them too? So, and then I also get to work with graduate teachers, which is awesome as well. Those kids, the teachers that have just finished uni and don't know what it's really like. I just get to work shoulder to shoulder with them and model lessons. And I'm actually loving it. It's a really good mix.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I guess like some people would think like, how do you have such a high level job and then also manage a family? Like, can women have it all in your opinion?
That's a tricky one, isn't it? And I often get asked and they say, oh, you're not like a stereotypical principal or deputy principal. And I guess you just have to go for what you want, and you just have to, I think you can to an extent, you can have it all. You just have to decide what are your priorities, and you'll get it. If you really want to work hard for it, you can get it. Yeah, for sure. Just you got to make the right decisions.
When you grow your online presence, there's a lot of upsides. There's also a lot of downsides. Can you talk us through that? Like, has there been any negatives to having, instant followership, or has there been anything that you found as a con in this industry?
Yeah, look, sometimes I get questioned or asked about always showing the highlights, and I make it look so effortless, like you said. However, if any of you fly on the wall, like, I do believe though that I'm not going to whip out my phone when my kids are having massive tantrums or they're in the middle of screaming or losing the plot or throwing something. That's a time when, as a mum, like, I need to be there and I need to be guiding them and providing them with strategies to cool down and to calm down and model how they should have behaved in that situation, or, the actions that they should have done in those situations, and calming them down, like I said, and making it, it's just not a place for me to whip out my phone and show. So I will respond and say, it's not all as perfect as it looks. It is, we know, we're very, switched on in terms of knowing that Instagram is a highlight reel, and people aren't always real on there, and you just, pick and choose what you want to display. I do try and, jump on afterwards, when the kids are in bed, and I'll jump on and say, oh, that was a rough day. So that's me venting, but I won't whip out my phone during those really tough times.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting you say that, because there's a big debate about mumfluencers and doing just that. Do you have a perspective on that, or is that something that you don't find, like, I know for yourself it's not a thing that you'd want to do, but like, what do you think of that? Like, when mums film absolutely everything?
Yeah, look, it's not for me. It's something that I don't believe is probably as I said, I think during those times you need to be present.
Yeah.
As a mum.
Yep.
I think, in my opinion, the role there is to guide the child and to help assist them, and growing that, that emotion and helping them through that for me. And I also think about as they grow up and, as they get older, would they want people seeing them having those huge big tantrums? And once it's on socials, it's on socials. It's on the internet.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think every photo or video is never retrievable. People don't realise that.
People don't. And I think, would you want, 15, 16, high school's brutal. Do you want to? And that's why I have to, I think too, this is a wonderful little hobby for me at the moment. It is amazing. I love it. But will I stop when I get to a point? I don't know. I haven't crossed that bridge. At the moment, it's amazing. It's fun. The kids are kids. I feel like what I show and choose to show to my audience is, nothing that's too controversial. And yeah, at the moment I like it like that. As the children grow up and, if Max or Ollie or Lola said to me, look, we don't want to be on camera anymore, we don't want you doing this or showing us to the world, then I'd stop. Yeah.
Do people recognise you?
Yeah, look, it's just started and it makes me giggle. They never refer to me as Victoria. It's like, hey, you're Perth Localite.
You're like my name.
It's so funny. So, yeah, a lady actually bought me a coffee last week, which was super cute.
That's sweet.
So nice. Yeah. She was like, we love what you post. Like, thank you so much for all the tips and, all the school advice and bits and pieces. Like, can I get your coffee? And it was so nice. Yeah, and then over Christmas when we were looking at Christmas lights, a lady came up to me. She's like, oh, I'm actually doing this trail because you posted it. And I was like, oh, my heart. So, yeah, people are starting to notice, which is, crazy.
That's the nice part of it.
Yes.
What about trolling? Have you experienced trolling before?
Look, I don't think I've been very lucky, not a massive amount of trolling.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get the off the cuff comments or, sometimes I've had some comments that I've been like, oh my goodness, are you kidding? About the kids being rangers and stuff like that. Yeah. And,
oh my God, I would be so mad.
Oh, and I love their hair colour. Like, I just love it.
They're so
beautiful. And it's just so different.
Unique,
yeah. And every time we go out, people are like, oh my gosh, how have you got 3? And all the old ladies always want to touch their hair and that. But yeah, sometimes, I'd got a comment from a guy saying something, some ranger joke or whatever, and I was just like, oh, really? Just, move on.
How does that make you feel? Like, do you get mad or angry?
Oh, yeah, I get really mad and angry, and then it brings me back to the high school days, and I'm just like, really? You felt the need to say that, but then, Sam, again, being the amazing human that he is, it's a reflection of them. Don't worry about it. Our kids are amazing. They're beautiful.
Men are so good at that.
Ugh, I need him in my life, seriously.
Yeah.
He's so good. Because I do. I rage initially and then just Sam will bring me back down. I'm like, how dare they say that about my children? But look, people are going to say it. They're always, people will always find something regardless. And that's what Mum always used to say to me as well. If it's not this, I used to get picked on because I was so tall. You probably maybe got that as well. Did you?
I never got picked on.
Never ever.
People just thought I was hot.
I love it. Love it.
Sorry.
Love it.
But people loved my height. Well, I've modelled like my whole life. So it was
even in primary school. I'm talking like primary school. Like when did you ever get lined up? Nah, never.
I never got bullied or anything.
How good is that?
But maybe they said it behind my back, but I don't know.
That is hilarious.
No, but did you get that?
No, I like sometimes I used to get, they used to be like, oh, you are so tall. Like, why are you so tall? Which I wasn't like overly tall, but primary school, and I always used to have to be at the back of the line.
I was always at the back.
Always had to, line you up from shortest to tallest. And I remember being like, oh, why am I so tall? But now I love it. Love being tall.
It's so attractive. Yeah.
Love it.
I want to ask, how do you stay authentic while growing your online presence?
So like I said before, I think just doing me, just what seems to be working so far. Like I said, in March was kind of the direction that I changed my page, and I feel like I will only work with brands that I truly believe align with the values that I have, and if I think it's a product that I actually will use and like. But aside from that, I think just showing up and showing our day-to-day bits and pieces that we're doing is authentic as I can truly be. So whatever seems to be we're doing at the moment seems to be working. So just rolling with that.
Yeah.
And not focusing on building numbers and building followers. That's not my intention. It's not why I started the page. I didn't start to get freebies, to get PR, to get noticed on the street. It's not why I started. I don't analyze my reels and look at what ones went well. And, you know, the gram changed and it was like, oh, you've had like 1.5 million views this month. And I was like, oh, wow. Like for me, that's great. Like cool. But it's not something that I sit on and I'm like, okay, now next month I need to get 1.8, you know, like it's not what I made them for. So yeah, for me, it's just doing what I'm doing and hopefully helping parents find places that they can go with and spend time with their kids and, you know, little tips and tricks along the way.
Who would be your dream collab?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
I know.
Look, I'd have to really think about that. I don't know. That lifespan cubby that I had was amazing. It was like a $3,500 cubby, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Oh wow. Was it wooden?
Yeah, it's wooden, and it is amazing.
Who built it?
Sam, of course. Come on.
You're like me with a hammer.
Absolutely not me. And then I got to do a giveaway with one as well, so that was amazing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. I feel like what I'm doing at the moment and the businesses that I'm about to work with for some of our staycations have just been like the dream. But if someone wants to fly me to Italy and my family to Italy for some content.
Do you like holidays? That's your thing.
That's my thing. I'm not going to complain. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I want to ask, what's the best parenting advice you've received or could give to someone?
Okay, I'm going to have to read this little tiny quote that Mum wrote in a card for me. And now I have to read it because I have to get it right. And when I summarise it, it doesn't come off as well. But this is what Mum wrote to me. And I feel like it summarises all the little one-liners that you get. And I just love it so much that I now write it in all of my girlfriends' cards when they're pregnant and we go to their baby showers. So Mum wrote this to me. Victoria, embrace the little moments because they grow up so fast. The messy days, the sleepless nights, they'll become cherished memories one day. Trust yourself, love them deeply, and just know that you're doing more than enough.
Oh, I love that.
I
and
love
it's
it
so
so
true because they're so small for a short amount of time.
Such a short amount of time. And you have those rough days and you put them into bed and, you know, sort yourself out, and then you get into bed and you just like scroll through the pictures of the day and just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till the morning till I can cuddle them again. You know,
yeah. What is motherhood like for you? Like when the cameras are off and, you know, it's just you and your little family.
It's like,
are you like, this is the best, or like, what do you feel like?
Like the best thing in the entire world. It's all I ever dreamed of. So I'm not sure if, you know, Maxie is an IVF baby. The twins ended up coming naturally, which is crazy. But
oh, wow.
I would go to Sykes because I'm a bit of woo-woo.
Same.
Okay, cool, you get me then. So I saw a Sykes, and the first question that I would always ask is like, will I have a husband and will I like end up having children was my biggest thing. Like, will I end up being a mum? All I ever wanted my entire life was to be a mum. And like when the cameras are off, I'm not organising activities. Like Sam and I genuinely are just usually like a wine in hand, and we're just chilling out the back. The kids are playing. It's been summer, so the pools are out, and they're just running around with Nudie Rudy. And we're like, this is the life that we've created. Like we are so lucky. Like only a couple of weeks ago, we were at Matilda Bay. So lucky at the moment. Sam has Wednesdays off on long service leave, so we get that together as a family,
nice.
which is amazing. And the kids were just like playing. We set the gazebo up. They were playing on the foreshore there. Just had all the sand out, building sandcastles. Sam and I got a coffee in our hand, just like looked around, and we're just like, this is our life. Like, how have we created this? And then Maxie was just playing, and he looked at the twins and he goes, "Guys, I love you." And I was just like.
The perfect moment.
Like it really, really was. And yeah, no, I often pinch myself. I hope that they stay as close and lovely, you know, loving each other forever.
Can I ask how old you are?
Oh gosh, good question. 35. I think I'm turning 34, so I must be 35 this year.
So What was your decision with going with IVF? Was that, do you have like...
So I have PCOS and endo.
Okay.
Yes. So first one, we tried naturally, just wasn't happening. So
Like a long time?
yeah, for a while. Yeah. So yeah, it was over 9 months. We then decided to go down the IVF road. And then we were we'd had Maxie for a year and a half, and I was just about to get ready for the next, start of mentally preparing myself for the next round of IVF. And I remember you have to wait for your period before you take tablets and start, they just need to know where your cycle is. So I remember thinking, like weird. I mean, I do have PCOS. I'm not regular anyway, but usually I get it within the 3 months. And it just didn't come. I remember like getting really tender boobs, and I was like, what? This is weird. And I was like, I'll just do a pregnancy test. Like, it can't be, but I'll just do one. And I did. And I have never seen 2 lines pop up so quickly in my entire life. Like, wild. Didn't tell Sam because I was like, no, this still might not be a viable pregnancy. Like, they told me that I couldn't get pregnant by myself. Like, this cannot be happening. So ended up going to see my obstetrician that I had with Max, and he was like, we'll jump on the bed, we'll scan you. And he's like, do you see that healthy heartbeat? Yeah, I do. And then he moved it and he's like, and do you see that second healthy heartbeat? And I was like, my baby has 2 hearts? Like, what? He's like, no, you're having twins. I was like, what?
Oh my God. What was that like for you?
Yeah, nearly see, speechless now. I still go back to that moment, and I am just, even he is mind blown about the situation, my obstetrician. So
yeah, wow.
It can happen to anyone.
So IVF and then natural.
IVF and then natural. And everyone's always like, oh, you always hear of those stories, but you don't actually think it's going to happen to you.
Yeah, right.
Here we are.
That's amazing. What's it like having twins? Because I've heard certain people say that like having twins, they kind of look after each other. Is that true?
Oh, it's the cutest thing in the entire world. So I often, when I'm with the kids, and I'm walking out in public, people are always like, oh my goodness, you've got your hands full. Oh, double trouble. Like, the amount of times that I hear it daily is crazy. But I'll never forget someone walking past me once and they're like, oh, I'm so glad that's you. And I remember getting home thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it's me too. I'm so glad that I have the twins. They absolutely love each other. And, I'll get Max out the car and I'll get Lola and I'll just put her on my hip and she's like, Ollie, like, don't forget Ollie. Like, Ollie's in the car too, like.
You're like, I've only got 2 heads.
Literally, I'm not going to forget. Yeah, no. And first thing in the morning, like the twins will get out and I'll pull them out their cot and they just sprint to Max's room and just jump on Max. Like, they're just cute. So cute. But no, having twins is, double the work, but like they say, double the love. It is pretty beautiful. It's pretty special. I do love that I have, double the milestones that I can celebrate. It is hard work. That first 3 months in particular was wild. Like, I try and settle one and then, try and settle the next one, and one would wake up and then the other one would just still be sleeping, and trying to get the routine right there was really hard, but so worth it.
Can I ask, like, with your busy schedule and everything, how do you prioritize self-care?
Oh, I try and put it in my list, like I said to you at the start of the week.
It's in the list.
It is in the list, so it's going to happen. I try and just as best I can. Like I said to you, we've got pretty amazing parents that are all for looking after the kids, which I know some people don't have. I don't know if you saw that I put up a poll and I said, like, when was the last time that you had a date night with your partner? And do you know over 65% said they couldn't remember when the last time that they just had some one time with their partner was.
Because the thing is, a lot of my friends don't trust babysitters.
Yes.
Or their parents don't live around. Like, mine are like 3 hours away, so they could never do that.
So they could never do it. But then I wonder, like, how do you have that time just to reconnect?
They don't.
I know.
Well, they do it at home when they're asleep.
Yeah, which is their only time. But I suppose because I'm lucky that I do have that support, that I can schedule it in. And while Sam's on long service leave at the moment on those Wednesdays, he's so amazing. He's like, use that time, go get your nails done, or, go get that massage done, or, yeah, he's wonderful like that. When the long service leave finishes, it might be a bit harder to, schedule that in, but I'll always make sure. I'm super passionate about ensuring that Sam and I have that one-on-one time together. Yeah.
Is there anything that you're doing this year that you can talk about? Or anything exciting coming up for 2025?
I think the most exciting things are my staycations.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, those staycations that I have booked are pretty amazing. I'm very much looking forward to those. And I've got a couple of other little things that I do have to keep close to my chest, but they are pretty exciting. And other than that, I'll keep finding those hidden gems for you that you can take your kids to and enjoy it on your day-to-day life.
And where can people find you?
At Perth Localite.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the pod today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll catch you next week for another episode, and have a good night. Bye.